Significant breaking news. Apple is said to plan a move from Intel to its own chips for use in its Mac computers. Once again, Apple is said to be planning a move from Intel to its own Mac chips. Let's check the stocks and what they're doing. Intel right now is taking a steep loss. It was already down quite substantially with the tech declines, but is now down about 7%. Let's get some more details. Let's get straight to San Francisco and Bloomberg's Ian King, who helped break this story. Another element that Apple is taking in-house. Ian, tell us more.
That's right. What we believe is happening here is something that Apple has been planning for a while, really wants to dominate not only what customers see, but what's going on inside its computers, and that's really important to it in terms of it controlling its own technology roadmap and it determining and differentiating its own technology versus what the opposition are providing.
So Ian, tell us exactly what we know here. What's the timeline? What exactly will these chips be doing? Who will it be replacing? Is it just Intel that's going to be replaced here, or are there any other suppliers affected?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing to bear in mind here is that Intel's technology completely dominates the PC market, okay? Since Apple gave up on using its own suppliers in 2005, Intel's technology basically has the whole of the PC market. So this really would be the first sign for Intel that its technology is no longer setting the agenda, is no longer in the lead. And Apple, even though volume-wise they're not huge, obviously they're a massive presence in terms of revenue in the PC market, and also, you know, their technology tends to lead and people tend to follow them, so this is bad for Intel in that respect.
What other major customers of Intel are there, Ian? Is there anybody else that might make up some of the shortfall if this were to happen?
Well, I mean, it depends on your view of what's going to happen with Apple's, market share. Basically, no. I mean, these guys are all out there competing. Increasingly, the market is more and more concentrated. The likes of HP, Lenovo, of ASUS, the market is increasingly concentrated there. If we believe that, Intel is going to stay in the lead, then perhaps they take market share from Apple, but realistically, no.
Ian, Apple doesn't necessarily tend to make decisions based upon cost. And as you say, bringing this in-house will allow Apple to have more control over the process and its design. Is there a cost element at all? Will it save money by insourcing, so to speak, this processing, this manufacturing? Yeah,
I mean, there are a number of things at play here. You've got to bear in mind Apple doesn't actually manufacture anything. It outsources even the components that it already has made. It has them made by TSMC. So it's really just an outsourcing play. What it will do, though, is obviously give it the ability to decide when it comes to market with new capabilities. Right now, like the rest of the PC market, in terms of the main processor, it's working on Intel's timeline. When Intel comes out with a new chip or a new set of capabilities, then Apple can produce them. At the moment, it's stuck with that like the rest of the PC market. This, in theory, would give it the chance to differentiate there, and obviously that can have an impact on pricing.
All right, well, this story is having a major impact on Intel's shares. They're down more than 8% now. Apple obviously getting caught up in the tech sell-off, but it's only down about 1% and change. But Intel is really seeing a major move here. This would be humongous for the company if, as our reporting suggests, Apple is really seriously thinking about moving its chip supply, Julie.
Yeah, I just have, if we can show the Intel intraday chart, I don't know if you guys have it, but it's up on my terminal. If not, it's down 9% right now. Ian, as you say, Intel is really the building block, if you will, for the PC universe. I was just looking at SPLC on my Bloomberg. As you mentioned, HP's a big customer, Dell's a big customer, Lenovo. Have we gotten any murmurings that those other companies are talking about designing their own chips? Or, I mean, as you say, Apple looks to be the leader in a lot of areas, but still.
Yeah, I mean, not so much designing their own chips, but you've got to remember, Julie, for a few years now, the technology that underpins Apple's chips, some made by ARM technologies that a lot of other companies use, particularly in the mobile phone market, has been trying to break into the PC market. We've seen Qualcomm bring processors out recently. That's really failed to make a dent on Intel so far. If Apple says, oh, actually, no, these chips are good enough, the process technology is good enough, maybe that's the validation that this technology is needed to break into Intel's monopoly, and I think that's the spin forward from this.
All right, Bloomberg's Ian King, who covers semiconductors for us and knows it probably better than anyone I know. Ian King, a scoop from him, as well as Mark Gurman. And we've been talking about, Vonnie and I, the effect on these Intel shares. You've got stocks falling here, the NASDAQ at its lows of the session. Let's look at Intel, if we could, on my Bloomberg, because it is down by more than 8% and taking a sharp leg lower. There you have it, down 8%. So certainly the latest leg down in the NASDAQ has something to do with this important Bloomberg scoop.